Uh, Good morning again, and esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, and fellow researchers. It's a great honor to be here today at the International Ophthalmology Conference to present our recent work entitled Color Discrimination in Cataract Patients Under Day and Night Conditions Assessment and Correlation with Lens Opacity. I'm Pan Xingchen from Peking University Third Hospital, and thank you for your being here. So let me begin with, Let me begin with a fundamental clinical observation. So cataracts are one of the most common causes of visual impairment worldwide. As the lens become yellowed and ossified with age, patients often report not only blurred vision, but also a noticeable decline in their ability to distinguish colors. This is not a merely a fact of clarify, it affects how patients perceive their environment. Imagine trying to read a traffic light at dusk, distinguish between a red warning signal and an orange one. These everyday tasks rely heavily on interact color discrimination. So yet in clinical practice, we often focus primarily on visual accuracy, how well a patient reads the eye chart, while overlooking the functional impact of color vision loss. Our study aimed to address this gap. So what caused the color vision impairment? The answer lies in the lens itself. As we age, the lens undergoes progressively yellowing and opacification. This process is driven by the accumulation of photo-oxidative damage, protein aggregation, and changes in lens fiber structure. So this consequence is increased absorption and scattering of short-wave lens light, specifically blue and violet. So as a result, the retina received distorted spectral distribution. Short-wave lens light, which is critical for blue-yellow discrimination, is selectively filtered out. So the patient's color perception becomes compromised, but importantly, this impairment is not uniform cross-spectrum. Understanding this spectral selectivity is essential to our investigation. So now, how do we currently assess color vision in clinical setting? One widely used tool is Farnsworth's Mosaic 100 hue test. So this test requires patients to arrange color cap in order of hue. While it provides a detailed assessment of color discrimination, it has significant limitations. First, it's subjective. It relies heavily on patients' attention, cooperation, and judgment. Factors such as fatigue, mood, or even misunderstanding of the structures can lead to inconsistent and unreliable results. The second one, it is really time-consuming, often taking 10 to 15 minutes to administer, which is impractical in such a busy clinic in China. And the third, it does not account for lighting conditions. The task is typically performed under standard emulations, yet patients experience color in a wide range of color environments, from bright daylight to dim indoor lighting. Therefore, there is a clear need for a more objective, repeatable, and fast clinical assessment tool that can capture color discrimination under realistic lighting conditions. This brings us to the key question gathering our study. The first one is, does the difference in light between day and night affect the pattern of color vision impairment in cataract patients? In other words, do patients struggle more with certain colors under low light conditions? And the second, does lens opacity selectively affect certain color pathways? Does it destroy specific color discrimination more than others? There is a special signature to cataract-related color vision loss? So these questions have not been systematically addressed in previous study, and answering them could significantly improve how evaluate and manage cataract patients. To address these questions, we established three main objects. First, to compare daytime and nighttime color discrimination in cataract patients. Second, to investigate the spectral selectivity of color vision loss, especially how lens opacity relates to impairments in different wavelength band from red to purple. And third, to develop the fast, objective, software-based assessment tool suitable for routine clinical use, one that can provide reliable measurement without requiring extensive patient's training or prolonged testing time. Now let me walk you through our methodology. We developed a custom software tool especially for this study, designed with both clinical practical and scientific region in mind. This software presents color stimuli across 6 distinct wavelength bands: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. In this experiment, 2 color patches were initially present with different colors. Participants were instructed to adjust the color by dragging the slider. During the adjustment, both color patches changes in opposite direction along a predefined color axis. The participants' task was to find the point at which the 2 patches appears identical. Importantly, the software allows us to stimulate realistic day and night backgrounds, adjusting both luminance and color temperature to match typical environment condition. The entire test takes less than 5 minutes to complete, making it suitable for a clinical setting. The software is designed to be rapid, repeatable, and patient-friendly, required only a simple button press to respond. And this study enrolled 68 patients aging 40 to 60 years, including 22 male and 46 females. All patients are tested under 2 carefully defined lighting conditions, daytime and nighttime section. In each condition, we assessed the discrimination shelters across the 7 wavelength bands. This design allows us to not only compare performance between conditions, but also to identify which spectral range are more affected under each lighting scenario. So what do we find? Under daytime condition, we observe a clear spectral pattern. Patients shows better discrimination for short wavelengths, cyan, blue, and purple. In contrast, they show worse discrimination for long to medium wavelengths, including red, orange, yellow, and green. Among all colors, red stood out as the most poorly discriminated under daylight. This is particularly interesting because red is typically considered a highly silent color. So the fact is that it was the most impaired suggests that cataract-related vision loss affects not only the blue-yellow axis as traditionally believed, but also the red-green axis, especially in terms of discrimination sensitivity. The orange and yellow shows immediate impairment falling between the well-preserved short wavelengths and the poorly discriminated red. And at night, the pattern changes significantly. The red and green discrimination become even worse compared to daytime. The shell has increased substantially, including that patients struggle even more to distinguish these colors and the low light condition. This suggests that low light condition exacerbate impairment in the long to medium wavelength range, colors that are crucial for contrast and safety in the evening environments, such as traffic signals, brake lights, and pedestrian crossings. Interestingly, short-wave discrimination, cyan, blue, and purple remained relatively stable under nighttime conditions, likely due to the contribution of rod photoreceptors, which have peak sensitivity in the blue and green range. So now let's look at the correlation patterns. Because they reveal something truly fascinating about how the visual system adapts to cataract-related changes. During the day, we observe that the trade-off pattern specifically, this is a significant negative correlation between the orange and blue discrimination with a correlation coefficient of minor 0.57. In other words, people who performed better in long wavelengths, orange and red, tend to perform worse in short wavelengths, blue and purple. This suggests a kind of trade-off under daytime, as if the visual system is limited resource to maintain some level of function across the spectrum. But at night, the pattern shifted completely. We found a positive correlation among purple, green, and blue discrimination with correlation coefficients ranging from 0.46 to 0.59. So this suggests a decline together. Under low light, short to medium wavelength discrimination tend to deteriorate together, pointing to a shared underlying mechanism, likely involving the road system and ASCON pathway that are both compromised in aging eyes. We also examined the relationship between the lens density measured by objectively using lens densitometry, the color resolution across different wavelengths. During the day, higher lens density was associated with significant poorer resolution for cyan and purple. This is the short wavelengths most affected lens yellowing. At night, higher lens density remained associated with poor resolution, but only for sign. This suggests that short wavelength discrimination is constantly affected by lens opacity. The fact that sign remained affected at night, while purple did not reflect the different contribution of rod and ice coins under lighting. So what explain these findings? The answer lies in the physiology of retina and unique vulnerability of certain photoreceptor pathways. The rod which mediates low light vision has peak sensitivity to short wavelengths around 500 nanometers, the cyan blue region. They are remarkably resilient, which may explain why shortwave discrimination is relatively preserved at night. The ice coins responsible for blue-white perception are known to deteriorate with aging and lens opacification. They are also highly susceptible to light damage and metabolic stress. The vulnerability likely to analyze the selective impairment of blue and purple discrimination we observed, particularly under the daytime conditions. So our results support the idea that lens opacity selectively impairs short wavelengths resolution through both optical filtering, the lens absorbing short wavelengths, and the neural factors related to ice coin dysfunction. Therefore, we believe that the comprehensive color vision assessment should be an integral part of cataract management. It not only helps us better understand the function impact of cataracts beyond just visual acuity, but also play a role in preserving visual function in our aging population. So our software-based tools offer a critical solution. It's rapid, objective, repeatable, and adaptable to different lighting conditions. And thank you for your attention.